Where are the black girls? Hey guys, it is Naimah, also known as Bunny Online, VITMB, and today is a spur of the moment type of video. So, as I am recording, it is September 28th, 2024, and what has happened within the past 24 hours is abysmal. So before we start, I'm going to give credit to JasimiSinclair, also known as K on Twitter. JasimiSinclair created a thread with the hashtag #WhereAreTheBlackGirls, and I'm going to read the first post. The purpose of this thread is to keep track of the number of YA projects, and a YA project is estimated to be for audiences 13 to 25 that don't have a black actress as a lead. What is a lead? A lead in any media project is one of the leading actors, one of the main characters within a project. As an example, a lead actress in any project is like, as in Zendaya playing Rue in Euphoria. You have more of a storyline. She said that she will be updating as we get more casting news. So where do people get casting news from? You could get casting news from Twitter, primarily from the account of Deadline, because Deadline is a media platform that usually updates the public with any new projects that are soon to come out. With that being said, she has posted a lot, so let's read through them. Susanna Sun, Lily Taylor, Catherine Watterson, and more set for Netflix's Fear Street Prom Queen. You want to see the casting? Right! Okay, so next one. I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot to star Camila Mendes, Madeline Klein, exclusive. You want to see the casting? Non-black! Okay, you have MJ Anthony, Chiara Aurelia. I don't want to say these people's name wrong just because I'm mad at them for being casted. Kezzy Curtis, Nikki Hahn to star in Peacock's Hysteria. You want to see the casting? Well, in this one's different. This one is different primarily because they have a leading black guy in the cast. But no black women. Goosebumps rounds out series regulars for season 2. You want to see the casting? Non-black. They have a black guy. They have a black guy. One thing about it, two things for sure. In this current climate of Hollywood, if they're going to cast anyone black, unambiguously black, it's going to be a male lead. Before I go any further, because there are so many other listings that are in this thread, the reason why I'm making this video is because there was a series on Disney Plus. I didn't watch it because I'm 23 and I feel weird watching teenagers teenage. No offense. It was called Saturdays. And Saturdays was a show that had 3 black girl lead actresses or young women actresses. However, within the past 24 hours, Disney Plus removed the series from its platform. And prior to that, the series was also canceled. The show was canceled. All of this has been on my Twitter feed. The reason why I'm talking about it now is because I just unprivated a video that I made a couple of years ago. So I made the video 5 years ago. It's 2024, so I made it in 2019 when I was a freshman in college. The title was Where Are the Black Girls At? Which is basically like the same as the hashtag. And when I made this video 5 years ago, I was talking about content creators, specifically like content creation houses. Like you would see the nerds, the nerdy black guys all hanging out. And it made me think, are there no nerdy black girl content creators? At that time, I wasn't even fully sure about like my queer identity. So I still considered myself as a black girl. But even then, I was still very much bothered by the lack of representation in that media space. When it comes to content creation, it's very hard to be well respected as a black femme. And I say that because people just generally do not respect black women. You could be in that space, but that doesn't mean you necessarily get the recognition that you deserve. It makes me think about how Angela Bassett did not win the Oscar for her portrayal in Black Panther, even though it was so much better than everybody else who was in the freaking category. Her performance was not given the recognition that it deserved by the Academy. Now, we could also have discussions about why do we put so much emphasis on being recognized by the white general public. We can have discussions on that, and we have. But whenever we do have these discussions, it's still, I feel as though these discussions always miss a specific mark when it comes to me anyways, and how media is only really given recognition if it touches the general public. And Black people are not considered as the general public. When it comes to series and stuff, the ones that I see that get canceled the fastest, I keep moving my legs because my feet keep getting numb because I'm sitting on the floor, my bad. But the series that get canceled very quickly are the Black-led series. I think about Rap Shit getting canceled. I think about Southside getting canceled. These are titles that were previously on HBO Max. I refuse to call it Max. It was HBO Max. And I genuinely loved watching those shows. I would say within the past 5 years, I have restricted my typical amount of media consumption. I previously used to watch anything like YA. But within the past 5 years, I purposefully only watch media that has Black people in there. And when I say Black, I mean Black. I mean like unambiguously Black people. And I made that my mission. And I'm pretty happy with my mission. If you don't know, I am a recent graduate of Georgia State University with a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies. With that degree, my primary focus in that degree was acting. Prior to that, when I was a freshman in college, I was an early childhood education major. I changed my degree because of the pandemic. The pandemic happened during my freshman year of college. I took a break. I took a gap semester. When I took that gap semester, I had a thought in my head that was like, you should write a film. And I was like, ooh, I should write a feature-length film. So that's what I intended to do. That one thought gave me purpose. So I ended up changing my major from early childhood education because I was unhappy with that major anyways. With my time there, doing all of these acting classes. Now, this is the only moment that you're ever going to really get me to be self-deprecating, but I don't think I'm a great actor. I don't. Mind you, within that major, when I was there, majority of my classmates were Black people. With that being said, I felt as though I was not a strong actor. I feel as though my acting is meh. I'm not a great actor. So I've grown up masking. So I thought that I would be a great actor, but I'm not, because I'm not great at trying to portray neurotypical emotions because I don't express emotions in that way. My portrayal of emotions is different. Honestly and truthfully, if there's a class out there for like neurodivergent actors to portray emotions in the way that which we could still portray emotions that get across to general audiences, that would be great, and I would love that. But regardless of that, even though I think I suck as an actor, during my time there, I still felt this purpose to write young adult media that is specifically written for Black audiences. And it makes me also think about the conversation of being Black famous versus generalized famous, and how like if it was up to me, and if Black people, this relates back to my hey weird Black girl video, if Black people were more accepting of weird Black people, I would just prefer to be Black famous. But because they don't, I now have to aim higher because I still want some level of recognition, period. If Black people were more accepting of weird Black people, and you can see this in the examples of Childish Gambino or Tyler the Creator, or even with the example of Michaela Coel. To be weird and Black is a different experience, and a lot of Black people just genuinely do not really want to see that unless they relate to it. And I think that's why Insecure did really well, because it was able to resonate with different audiences outside of just the generalized Black audience. It related to people across the board because Issa was quite relatable, but also she was still very much in tune with her Blackness. Atlanta is such a great show as well. You see an awkward black guy. You see all of these awkward black guys trying to navigate their space, especially in Atlanta. And I'm not gonna lie, I think one of the best places to be a weird black person is Atlanta. But then also, it sucks being a weird black person in Atlanta because, truth be told, you're still gonna run into black people who still participate in the realms of respectability politics. They want you to be the best version of black. And when it comes to this conversation, it does make me think, where are the black girls? Because when it comes to black girl representation in general, and when I say girl, I don't mean just girls, because it's easier to say girls than femme, women, etc. So I'm just going to say girls. When it comes to black media, especially in the portrayal of black girls, our presence has been on a very sharp decline. If you look at any of my previous videos before any of them started blowing up, especially like back when I was still in high school, or at least like a freshman in like college and stuff, when I was just yapping on the internet for freezy, you would see that I have a bone to pick with the media that was coming out. When it came to the sun is also a star, or even the hate that you give, and how these biracial actresses, even though like they're beautiful and they're incredibly talented, I would have very much preferred black actresses, unambiguously black, dark-skinned actresses for those roles. You may be asking, why? Like, why couldn't they just be in those roles? Well, for one, like, don't get me ticked off. When it came to the hate that you give, when you see the cover of the book, it has a dark-skinned girl on the cover. When you read the story about, you know, the character Star, and Star is talking about her family and stuff, and how her dad is dark-skinned, and how her mom, I believe, is her mom light-skinned? I haven't read that book in a while, but like, Star is not light-skinned. She's not. That means, obviously, she's unambiguously black. Amandla Steinberg is a biracial woman. Amandla Steinberg is non-binary, though. And she uses they, them, but she also uses she, they. Great actress. I just did not want her to be portraying Star, because they had elements that talked about her skin tone in that book that were not really necessarily mentioned in the film, which is also why I did not like the film. But also, the film could have just been better, fundamentally. But that's neither here nor there. When we have this discussion, we also need to touch on the basis of colorism, and how colorism also plays a role in black girl representation in media as well, especially in YA titles, because the last two films that I can really remember off the top of my head that had dark-skinned femme representation was in Rye Lane, which is a great film. It's on Hulu. If you haven't watched it, watch it. And then you also have Sella and the Spades. Those are the last two that I can remember. You also have like Ayo Edeberry, who was in Bottoms, so that could count. So 3. If I said Ayo's name wrong, please cuss me out in the comments. She was also in Theater Camp. That's what I was thinking. And then Sweet East as of recently. But she has also done like other films as well. But still, you know, I need more. We need more. Because here's the other thing. Not all unambiguously black femmes look alike casting rooms. They think all black people kind of look alike. And that's just not what happens. And you know what? It's making me think about Project Greenlight. So if you don't know, Issa Rae was, I believe, one of the producers of the newest season of Project Greenlight, which was previously a show that was produced by Matt Damon and I believe like Ben Affleck. But in the latest season of Project Greenlight, Issa was looking for women directors to create and produce a film. And so the winner of that was a black director. When it came to casting for the film, because it was supposed to be like a sci-fi film, she had 2 choices. She had this dark-skinned girl who was supposed to be up for the role, but then they also had this biracial girl. The biracial girl ended up getting it because the studio was like, but we like her more. But the director of the film really wanted the dark-skinned girl to get the role. My issue is not with biracial people. It is not with ambiguously looking black women and biracial people. It's not with y'all. My issue is with casting. And these casting directors are openly colorist. They're openly colorist. And they don't put dark-skinned, brown-skinned women and femmes in YA media because they want to go with the lighter option. We also have to have the conversation as to why. Why do we often see a biracial girl being the sole representative of blackness in YA media? That's because of colorism. Y'all associate all of these feminine attributes to lighter-skinned, ambiguous, biracial women that you deny black women, unambiguously black women, from entering, from obtaining. You see dark-skinned, natural hair, 4C natural hair, black women as masculine. And just say that. Because it's quite obvious. It's very obvious. The only times that we are necessarily granted femininity is when black people are producing the content. And when I say black people, I mean a non-colorist man, a non-colorist black man, or a black woman. The other issue is that white Hollywood doesn't value black dollars. They don't value black streamers. And we also need to have that conversation. Black streamers aren't as valued as white streamers because white streamers are seen as the majority. And because they're seen as the majority, they're seen as the real money makers, the real people that we need to appease, to please, to pleasure with media. Which is why we often see these biracial girls being in these roles because they're like, okay, like we have a black person here, damn, fuck, like y'all beg for too much. They would much rather have a biracial girl there than an unambiguously black girl because they want to appease white people. If I was biracial, I would be asking, where the fuck is our representation? But I know biracial people want to see their stories on TV. They want to see the complexities of their families. They want to see the complexities of the lives that they live and how they have to just live in a world having two or more identities. But also, with this conversation, you know you're going to have like a trio of people who are like, you're just jealous that you're fat, you're ugly, you're dark-skinned, you're jealous, you're jealous, you're jealous, you're jealous. And to that, I have to say, I'm not jealous, guys. I just want us to be able to point out these things because they truly do matter. And outside of that, I think we need to have a greater conversation as to why our media looks a certain way now. The best time for media was probably one of the most colorist times in media, one of the most misogynistic times in media, one of the most fucked up times in media. Because truth be told, the 90s was probably the peak of black representation. You had hip-hop songs as the intro songs to like children's media on Nickelodeon. TLC, Coolio, LL Cool J. You had NWA. You had music, like you had current popular at that time artists on your TV shows, on your TV series. Y'all don't do that anymore. We don't even really necessarily have cameos like we used to. We don't. Like, a cameo don't even hit the same way that it used to. Like, I remember when it came to, like, rap shit, and then, like, Brent Faiyaz was there. And I was like, oh, shit, it's Brent Faiyaz. And then I moved past it because I'm like, damn, Shauna, you making me cringe really bad. But, like, I feel like back in the day, like, a cameo was like, oh, my fucking God, worlds are colliding. But I don't feel that anymore. Honestly and truthfully, I think that Hollywood has to fall. And I think the old structures of Hollywood are currently crumbling. Between the two strikes that we previously had, between the writers and the actors who were not being paid adequately, now we're having another strike with the animators. Outside of the strikes, you have Diddy, you have Jeffrey Epstein, and all of the celebrities that were involved in those scandals as well that are about to fall as well. Their reputations, their careers are about to fall. I think everything has to fall in order to build new. Because I don't want to rebuild with the old structures. Fuck no. Fuck the old structures. everything has to fall in order for new people to rise up. We had a black film renaissance in the 90s. That's when you got Spike Lee, John Singleton. That's when you got all of these black directors who were once interns, who were working their way up in the industry, and they started producing content. Not only that, but they were also putting black actors and black people to work in production, in producing, all of these things. It was an amazing time that I was not born there. Like I wasn't born to see it happen in real time, but it's beautiful to look back on. And I have nothing against, like what we see now. But like, truth be told, as a black queer person who is also pansexual, one thing about it, two things for sure. I'm tired of the interracial queer couplings. I want to see black gay couples. I want to see black gay couples so bad. Like, so bad. Oh, you know what's another topic that I did not discuss in this? Fatphobia. I think I didn't touch on that more. You know what really irks me? There are no fat black girl leads, like, ever in, like, YA media. I hate that. That shit sucks. I don't think fat black girls should just be ignored. I don't think their experience should be ignored. I think we need to see more fat black femmes get roles, get storylines. And on top of that, the other topic of fatness is that, god damn, I get it, I'm fat, but like, fuck, do you genuinely think my whole life is about me being fat? It's not. When have I ever said my whole life revolves around me being fat? It's like, oh my god, I'm so fat. Like, y'all want fat bitches to be so self-deprecating all the time. But check this. No, I'm mad. Like, and especially in terms of like romance. Like, I think back at the 90s, even though I was just glazing it. But like, I think back at the 90s, in particular, the episode in which it was like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and like Queen Latifah was there, and she was like a potential love interest for Will, but it didn't really work out because, that nigga was probably fatphobic as fuck. And so like, it was like, oh, like this is a second option type thing. And it's like, damn, like, do I always gotta be the second option? Bitch, I'm cute, I'm hot, I'm fat, and I'm cunt. Like, can we please move past that already? We can't, because we still have to face the gripe of like, fatphobia, and fatphobia being so openly embraced now. Like, for the time period that we had like body positivity and stuff, like, people were keeping that shit like, and when I say closed, like this, like, they were still very, very much fatphobic, but they weren't to the level where they are now, where they're like, big back, and that shit blows the fuck out of me. But like, at least they had that shit loosely tied in a knot, in a bud, But like, now it's like, fat people don't exist. Fat people don't exist in media that much anyway. But like, I'm so happy that Natasha has that show out right now on Hulu, How Not to Die Alone. Because, fuck, I'm fat and I'm young and I like romance. I do. And I love seeing awkward fat black femme media because I'm an awkward fat black queer person. Like, fuck. Like, who is telling y'all that like we can't be in media? It's so annoying and lazy to always have fat representation lie with the storyline of, I'm fat and I don't think that this person will want to date me because I'm fat. Because yes, that very much happens in real life. But outside of that, when are we ever going to really talk about like people being openly fatphobic? When are we going to talk about society being fatphobic? I don't need to, like, why? Why do I need to be self-deprecating? I know I'm fat. I look at myself every day. You see my grandma cooking arms that I don't cook with because I'm not a cooker? Yeah, like, I have them. But like, they're not the end of the world. Like, let's talk about fuckboys wanting to, I don't know, easily have sex with like fat women because they think fat women are desperate. Let's talk about that. That don't need to be a whole storyline or whatever. But like, we need to talk about that. We need to talk about all the complexities that deals with like fat dating, that deals with being fat overall, being a fat artist, being a fat dentist, being a fat doctor, all of these things. We need to talk about things outside of, I think I'm ugly and I'm fat, because truth be told, I don't feel ugly. I don't. Like, y'all are lazy. I think all of this boils down to the fact that, like, I think Hollywood is lazy. They don't want to pay their writers. They don't want to pay for writers' rooms anymore. They want to keep the same writers from the writers' rooms that they had 40 years ago, 50 years ago. The people from like 30 years ago writing the same bullshit stories. But here's the thing. Here's the kicker. Those stories back then were new, but now they're old and stale. And the casting directors, I don't know what the fuck y'all are looking for, but like, Jesus Christ, please. I'm not going to start begging y'all because y'all suck, but like, do a better job. Like, we need to have better representation. And also, here's another thing. There's no such thing as a normal race. So because there's no such thing as a normal race, and I say that because I bring it up as to how, like, oh, they're going back to primarily casting white and non-black people in these roles and stuff. The reason why I say that is because y'all genuinely believe that the normal audience is just white people. But check this. America is so fucking diverse that you're doing yourself a major fucking disservice. And I'm cursing a lot because now I'm annoyed. Like, y'all are being lazy. Start casting the world of America. You have communities where it makes sense, where, oh, we're making a story in like wherever America, where the majority of the population is white people. But even then, you're going to have a sprinkle or two of a person of color. Regardless of race, you're going to still have a sprinkle of a person of color there in that space anyway. So you're always going to be doing a major disservice unless you're doing a story that only really centers a strictly white community. Don't silence black voices, because that's really what Hollywood has been doing. And you know what? It makes me think about the Oscars so white thing, because Hollywood was shaken up for 2.9 seconds, but after that, after those seconds were up, they stopped giving a fuck. And now we're here again with predominantly white casts. We're the only representation of blackness that is there as a male. And my experience is not similar to a black male experience because I'm not a male. I don't have the privilege of being a male. I don't. And so because of that, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, oh, guys, yeah, I'm so happy that you cast one. Like, we're going back to tokenism. That's really what it is. We're going back to tokenism. So, yeah, y'all suck. But outside of that, I do know a couple of people who do need funding for their black projects, because I'm in the art space. And because I'm in the art space, I have a mutual that I know. Her name is Jaya Day. So shouts out to Jaya. She is trying to currently fundraise money and funds for her independent film. Her Instagram and TikTok accounts here. And I will also drop the links in my description as well. I also know of a person who I follow on Twitter as well, who is also trying to raise funds for their next film, their next independent film. I don't know the person's name, but I know their Twitter handle is Notcishet. They are a filmmaker that is based in NYC. If you want to help a queer filmmaker, if you want to help a queer filmmaker here, please follow them. And I will also drop their links in my description as well. Because at the end of the day, the only people who are trying to make representation for black people, especially for representation for black queers, black queer people, black femmes, black women, etc., are black people, are black queer people, are black women, femmes in general, and some black men. You know, I do throw shade at black men a lot, not because You know, not for nothing, but like, y'all niggas, especially Eddie Murphy and like Martin Lawrence and the whole colorism shtick that y'all have been running with for the past 40 years, 30 years is getting fucking tired. And y'all have children now. And because y'all have children, those children are running around in Hollywood. Not your actual children, but you have your sons, like Nikki, like your sons are running around in Hollywood, in media, in Atlanta, being still very much colorist in their casting. So, yeah, that is the shade that I'm throwing at black men. Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence sons, because y'all sons are running around in media still casting like y'all. It's ridiculous. It's lame. Get a new shtick. Okay. That's it. That's all. Those are my thoughts. Very impromptu. I'm contemplating editing this. I probably will to some degree. And yeah, I'm happy if you made it all the way to the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye.